Oh. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Huh. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you back to the conference. The Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, just concluding, but just beginning a new path. And I want you to meet some very important people.
Yes, my name is Brian Lee. I am the host and founder of Restoring Families Internet Network on Facebook. You can find us, just type in RFIRN, and literally, you can't miss us. What we do is we are the voice of the voiceless, which is exactly what my shirt is. We're a podcast on Blog Talk Radio, and we allow parents like myself, Stephen Ball, Cash Jackson, Carlos Rivera, Yaya McLean to come on and share their stories. We encourage everybody to reach out and speak out. When they talk about gag orders that these judges are placing on the parents, they need to realize that gag orders are unconstitutional. So we encourage everybody to step up and speak out. The more we get these stories out there, the bigger we're going to be, ladies and gentlemen. The more people are going to understand that there is a serious problem within our nation, and not just our nation, but worldwide.
And how long have you been in the in this media, very important media outlet, Brian?
I've been fighting for 8 years for my two children. I've only been doing the radio show for almost 2.5 years. So it's been a progress. Well, I'm new at this. I'm not a professional by no means, but it's a passion. It's something that I want to do to help other parents. It's therapy to me. Doing the radio show is therapy. Being able to talk with other parents and help them out, give them guidance. We're not attorneys, but we do give advice based upon our own personal experiences.
And tell us, when you broadcast again, and also how people can, tune into the broadcast.
Absolutely.
And how they can contact you so that they can share their stories. Many of them are quite unique. Most of them have very common threads, but the experiences are different.
Absolutely. They can reach us on rfirnnetwork@gmail.com. So that's rfirnnetwork@gmail.com. They can also call into our shows. On Sundays, we go from 9 p.m. until 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Thursdays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And our call-in number, it's only during the live shows, 619-924-9885. Again, 619-924-9885. And anybody can come on. Thursdays are open mics where we can talk about anything, family law, Trump tweet, whatever you want to talk about. It could be about the NHL playoffs that are happening right now. It could be about anything. Sundays are our main times where we have the whistleblowers, the attorneys, guardian ad litems, whistleblowers, and the parents.
From how near and far?
Oh, we are heard all over the world. We're heard in 41 countries as of right now.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if I may, and let me just turn this around just for a second, if I can. I'm so adept at computers, but but I want you to know that a number of people that were just mentioned who had been interviewed on Brian's program are people who come from all over the United States. And Cash Jackson, who we heard this afternoon, is running as a Libertarian candidate for governor in the great state of Illinois, and where his presence will bring much change for shared parenting. And I think if anyone is listening, that if you want changes as a parent and as one who is disenfranchised, a disenfranchised parent, which I just coined, because I feel a disenfranchised parent, not seeing my children in 20 years, I think that each of you can, who are working in the field or as a parent seeking to preserve the relationships between parents and children, elect the candidates who will be receptive to shared parenting and put them on the carpet. And if they don't want to discuss it, they're gone. Write them off. Mm-hmm. And that's a very sad state of affairs. And I have called and written a number of people in Florida who are running for governor and running for state senate. And I will tell you, I've not gotten any response from them. And I'm thinking of running for office myself, and certainly feeling very charged by coming back to this the world of advocacy, which I helped lead for many years, and in the last 10 years focusing on services. And I will tell you that I feel inclined, God willing, if I have my health, I would like very much to have public office myself, and I would run on a family candidate ticket, because the parties are outrageous, and until they admit their frailties with respect to family and commit to making changes, then they're no good to me. And in fact, as Mr. Wonderful says on the Shark Tank, you're dead to me. And sadly, they are dead to me, because they don't give a damn about families. They don't have the courage to admit any condemnations that they may have, or calls for change. And if they don't, they're no good. Are your elected official? I'm sorry, they're not mine. They're yours, maybe. But we can make those changes. And so coming back into this scene where you can see, these very important people, and I'm going to. There you are. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
And Paul, I'd like to introduce this gentleman from Canada, right?
By way of Pennsylvania, yes.
By way of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Was that covered wagon or airplane or
Amish wagon?
Amish wagon.
Amish wagon.
Paul, I'd like you to share some words with us, if you don't mind. We do have some viewers, but I'd like you to speak about your reaction to this conference today, and what's the takeaway for you, if I may.
The takeaway, Dr. Mark, is hope, strength in numbers, strength in legislative change. Let's go to the White House, and let's go to Canada too, and let's involve the Canadian, because his father would have done it. Pierre Elliott would have done it. He's taken a position of no position. Anyway, hope, change, and that the pain is going to end.
It's going to end.
Well, you know what? I fought for many years with some of the greatest pioneers in the field, and to his dying day, David Levy, who I was with, never gave up hope and was a mensch. And but we still have the battles to fight. And I do want to say that on tomorrow morning, I have a conference call with an attorney who's also a professor in Ontario, Stephen Benmore. And I'm looking forward to having a heart-to-heart with him.
Very nice.
And learning what's happening in Canada and what we might be able to do to help support the shared custody movement there. That is, Canada actually led in shared custody prior to the states.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
But sadly, they're not enforcing, and that's the biggest problem all over. It's enforcement, I believe.
I think the word you were looking for earlier was culpability, and everyone's culpability in the family, or the lack of family law. Okay?
I agree with that.
When you walk into the courtroom, first and foremost, you're walking into an admiralty. When you profess that you understand the charges that are read to you, the meaning, the intention in that court is you stand under the man in the dress, or the man, not the dress, the
cloak,
The cloak,
robe,
cloak, robe, coat. Yeah.
It's got many different names.
Right. I'm not rehabilitated as far as the court is concerned.
Well, this definitely, gentlemen, is an international affair, and it was through the Children's Rights Council that helped bring joint custody conversations throughout Western Europe, including Great Britain, and France, and Australia. Those three countries are still having difficulty with joint custody. England is still suffering from the abominable approaches by their federal system and their lack of support for fathers, particularly because that's the statistics in Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
but Australia has taken a major lead in that field, which is absolutely wonderful. And I'm just hoping that I might get some invitations to speak there because I want to thank them so personally at their expense. But
Absolutely.
But I'm so grateful to you all and everybody else that has come to this conference. I see a woman leaning against the wall here, and I wonder if I can invite you to introduce yourself, because you've been agreeing with some of the conversation.
Absolutely.
Would you mind?
My name is Victoria Honorato. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I am an alienated grandmother for 3.5 years after raising a grandson for the first 6 years of his life. He's now 9.5 years old, and our son is an alienated father. And from that, it has prompted me to start a foundation, Family Legal Action Foundation, because families are not able to get back into court once they've been so emotionally and financially devastated. So, I've been listening to you, interviewing people, and, what this movement is going to do is help to bring America together again, Americans. And what you say about New Zealand and Newfoundland and Wales and Australia, as far as India and Pakistan and Japan, these countries, and even the UK, he has some awful laws that are just destroying families just as bad as America. And it is going to come to a point where American families will be great again. We will be great again, and so will families across these countries. But it's going to take a lot of work from the people who are being affected by this. It's the children who are being destroyed. And there's too much suicide going on with fathers and grandparents. And now the children themselves are beginning to commit suicide as young as 6 years old. They're hanging themselves in closets and bathrooms, and the schools are not intervening to find out what the problems are of the children, and their easy solution is to bring in CPS and quickly start bringing in big pharma and drugging our children instead of understanding that it's the situation with being alienated from a parents, grandparents that is actually the foundation of the problem to begin with. But nobody wants to acknowledge that. Nobody wants to acknowledge it. They want to keep blaming it on other issues other than the family unit. And it's awful. It's just absolutely awful.
It is. And a thread that I find myself having thought of over the years and saying to myself, and which I've written about in my book, is acknowledgement, recognition, and support, which is not a rocket scientist to understand.
Right.
You have to acknowledge what is, recognize that there are options, right? There are options for the choices that are made, for outcomes that we want, and they can only be made with support. We can't easily do it alone. And all those figures that we hold up as being the singular, right, in their efforts, whether it's politics, political change, whether it's in any field,
Right.
did not do it alone, and they can't do it alone.
The solution is so simple. And I was an alienated child, an alienated sibling when my parents divorced in the 1970s. And I grew up estranged from two of my siblings. I grew up estranged from one of my parents. I was alienated. And the judge felt that it was proper to divide the children instead of... The solution's very simple. Bring a program, any program, to allow both parents to be in a child's life. It's that simple. Give the children their family, their parents. Why can't you do that? We have programs for alcoholics, sex addicts, crime victims, rape victims, child abuse, child incest. Well, we don't have one program that will allow the parents to be in their child's life. But yet they're not doing this to intact families, intact marriages. You don't see the regime going into people's households saying, oh, well, you guys had an argument last week about who's going to buy the groceries and there's dirty dishes in the sink, so we're not going to allow you to see your children for a whole week. You have to go hide in the closet when you come home from work, and you only get to see the kids for 1 hour on Saturday. You can come out, and then you got to go hide again. We're not doing that. Why would you do it to divorced parents? All they're doing is changing their marital status back to single. That doesn't mean they're not parents anymore. I don't understand that.
After 20 years that I was in the movement, and after so many years since David and Levy and Al Ellis were in the movement, only 30 states. 30 seems like a lot, but when there are 50 states in the Union, and only 30 have joint custody, which means it assures children the rights to both parents in their lives, short of criminal circumstances. Then this is a travesty, and there's work to be done. And if you want to be part of it, if you're ashamed of this country's attitude towards parents and children, if you want to make a change, then you can contact me. You're on my Facebook page. Contact me. We'll talk, we'll do coffee, and I'll give you the tools to make that change, hopefully. Thanks. Bye.